So, Kasia Muzyka. Did I get it right? Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. You're a phenomenal intuitive artist, correct? And
Yes,
you're from Poland,
absolutely.
living
Yep.
in Minneapolis, Minnesota,
Yeah, that's all
having
correct.
just shown your artwork in New York earlier this year. That's correct.
Yes.
I like how I'm just fact checking. Your introduction is just like fact checking. This is all information that I know. I am passing on to the listeners. So, can you give us a little bit of a background as to how you started becoming an artist, what type of artist you are now, what kind of work you produce?
Yeah, I think that um, you know, I think I was always very artistic as a child. I had, my training in piano and like I finished music school and then I did some theater and I did acting and dancing and singing. I've done probably every single possible, right, way of art. Um, and in my childhood, something happened that kind of got me wounded, and that's what often happens, right? I didn't get accepted to one of the things that I really wanted to do, just to make, long story short. And that kind of shut me down for a really good couple years. No, actually, probably like a decade or more.
Wow.
And and I was always very artistic. I was always doing something, but then I started actually painting. I remember the first time I really started expressing myself and I was sitting in the studio and I sat down after painting and I just cried so much because I was just acknowledging this little girl that got so hurt and shut down back when she was just little and couldn't really make sense of anything that happened. It was a big wound. There was a lot of pain. There was lots of resistance, for being seen. Uh, Again, because that's what happened, right? There was the fear of something like this will happen again. But then I just remember that, painting for me became this like very sacred space where, almost like I was basically crossing the threshold of the temple. And I was able to connect with my spirit and really with my higher self, something bigger, right? The bigger purpose for us to be here. And that became such a magic that every single time I step into the studio, that's where I was. And, all my fears kind of were just irrelevant in a way. And I was painting and expressing myself. And after every painting, I cried at the beginning because I think that was just clearing out my old wound. And then it just became something I was doing. So I just feel like, art kind of in a way chose me. I really never chose art. It was just something I always supposed to do.
Wow. And so, how long have you been painting like this for?
Probably for the past 10 years, I would say. Yes.
Wow. So my biggest question is because I'm a commercial artist, so a lot of the time when I paint, I think about the end buyer or the end user or the client or how how do you paint so expressively, intuitively, but then still do you ever think about the end buyer or is it all
No, I actually don't because I know that the energetic impact that this art will have will find the right person, right? I know that it will serve. So, the most important thing for me as being creator is really to be authentic and truly express my heart and stay true to my heart. So I don't want to make art for money. I don't want to make art for being famous. I don't want to make, art because I need to be on the stage or like just I need to have, multiple exhibition. Like the biggest really gift for me of making art is that other people will relate to it, and there'll be kind of naturally coming resonance with the art. And it always happens. And of course, at the beginning, you don't know that it will happen. So it's very scary. But, as you experience your art and yourself and being with other people, you know that this happens every single time, right? So then you stop questioning this. You know that you will find the right person that this art is perfect for, right? And I think that's really what happens a lot in life. Once you really kind of put to the side all your like fears and maybe egoic expectations, that kind of true essence can really leave, right? And so for me, really stepping into my art studio and being with the canvas is more about really connecting with my true self, connecting with my heart, and listening. First of all, just listening, tuning into what really wants to be seen and expressed, right? That's why I talk a lot about unseen, and just basically bringing whatever already exists to life because it wants to be seen, right? It needs to be the right time and space, as we say,
Mm.
for something to really be explored and seen, or for the current, right, to happen. So I just tune in. And if this wants to be expressed, then I'm just the vessel to express. I'm almost like in service, right?
Mhm.
I feel like I'm excavating the art that already exists.
Wow, that's a beautiful way to speak about it. So when you have a show and you see people looking at your art, can you see the people that are connecting with it? Like, how do they connect with
Yes.
your art?
Yeah, so my just recent solo show in New York, The Sacred Condition of Being, was this story, right, of our life, the archetypal and also personal, the story of everything that we live through as human beings, right, being here on Earth.
Mm.
And I had little poetry and writings next to it. And the biggest gift was I had such an amazing turnout, and I had people like standing in front of my art, crying, taking notes, taking pictures, reposting, coming to me and like talking to me, asking me questions. And then I would go deeper into conversation. And they were just fascinated. We opened so many deep conversations. And for me, to make that connection with another human being through my art is everything that I can wish for.
Wow. Do you feel when you're painting intuitively, how do you know when it's done? Is that an intuitive sense that goes, okay, finished?
So yeah, it's similar to like, those kind of mask makers, right? Like the tribal communities where they must make the mask. They
Mm.
basically ask the mask what it wants to be, right? What color wants to be used, and then what texture. It's more like that dialogue, right? It's the inner dialogue that at some point becomes very clear with your art, right? So that's what I do. I have this continuous kind of dialogue with my art. And at some point, I just know it's done.
Mm.
And very often I don't really know what I'm painting.
Yeah.
Like I know a little bit, but I really don't know. And at the end, I'm like, wow, okay, that's what it is. That's what it really wanted to. Like, this is the story that wants to be told, right? I
Mm.
didn't know. At the end, I kind of understand really, wow, okay, this is amazing. But this dialogue kind of goes on because sometimes, like the bigger pieces of art, they'll come in for like the whole year. So it's a long process.
Wow. And okay, so this might be a very naive question, but it feels like life is busy and inside your head is busy and everything's busy and crazy and out of control. How do you quieten everything to hear your intuition? I don't know if that's a really naive question, but how do you
It's not.
hear it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. I think it's a question of the seeker, right?
Yeah.
It's a very important question. It's a good question that comes from heart, right? Um, yeah, like at the beginning, it might feel like it's difficult, but it really isn't, right? Like I am also a businesswoman, right? So I am like, go, 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 do, do, do. And that's what I do in life. But when it comes to my art, that's my sacred space. When it comes to envisioning my life, that's my sacred space. When it comes to love, it's a sacred space. When it comes to your heart, it's a sacred space. So we all have that part of us that is still innocence, right? That innocence part when we were kids and we were asking silly questions that adults couldn't understand, right? I mean, I don't know if you read the book The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember, he drew a boa that, swallowed the animal, right? And it looked like a hat. And
Mm.
an adult would see the hat, but it was really boa swallowing elephant, right? So it's that way of, childlike looking at life and everything, right? It's that innocent piece. And we have this, it's just the way to connect with this back, to drop there because intuition lives there. You connect with your, that innocent part. And then the true innocence, you drop into intuition. And, the more you practice that, it's like going to a gym. Once you practice the muscle, it will become stronger, right? So
Mm.
it's only a matter of you just practicing this every day.
Do you have like a process that you go through? Like in my head, like for me to quieten everything and feel my intuition, I would need like a solid hour of like candle candles on
Mm,
and like soft music and like telling my family to leave me alone. I
yeah, yeah.
would need like a
You know,
really solid process to get into it. How about you?
yeah. Yeah, I get it. Like you can also just, have certain habits that would allow you to do that, right? Like for me, running water is amazing because I just feel like if I go and take a bath or like, shower, I just feel like that water can take everything from me, right? So you can just envision that the water takes all your day from you, right? And then you step into that pure essence of you where you really connect with your intuition, right? So it's kind of like a mini ritual. It doesn't have to take much, right? Especially like at the beginning, and then you light the candle and you close your eyes, you take a couple deep breaths, and you're there,
Wow.
and just don't assume that it's not going to work. Just assume you're there,
Yeah.
have an intention that that's exactly what you're going to do, and then start painting. But more led by what to want to come. It's just such an amazing way because I know it's like it's almost the opposite way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My very logical brain has trouble. Like I'm a planner. So I have so much admiration for you to just let it flow. I just logically I couldn't do it. I think it's like a whole other skill. And so your artworks look quite abstract, but there are like figurative works inside your abstract pieces, aren't they? And
Yes.
that's none of that's planned. It just,
Yeah, it just kind of comes naturally because it's like, first I, like with this big piece behind me, right? I've worked on the background for a really long time. But then I was just called to draw a person I didn't even know. I just knew it's going to be like a goddess experiencing herself, but that goddess is in, each of one of us, right? And I just felt like she will be laying down. So that's what I started doing.
wow.
And I
I,
had no idea what that's supposed to mean and why. And then at the end, I did understand. But like at the beginning, I didn't know.
wow. So you had this show in New York in June,
Mhm.
creating these intuitive pieces for a deadline for the show. Does that put more pressure on you? Does that make it harder to get into your intuition because you need these pieces for a show?
Actually, deadline worked really good for me, Like deadline is a good thing for me because I kind of know that by that time, all of this will be done. And I have intention that it will be done,
Yeah.
you know? And then I don't have to worry about this. I really let go completely because it just happened so many times to me now that I don't worry that I won't be done. Like I know I will be done. And
Yeah.
so then those paintings just, happen to just naturally come. And some paintings like I painted two at the same time. And sometimes that happens because they were almost like a pair that would speak to each other. And some paintings just, I just worked for like really long time, like over a year, um, during that course of preparing smaller pieces for that exhibition. So kind of everything, happened together and I never felt like, oh, I won't be done or I was stressed. Like I really truly, um, it's hard to say trust, but like I just have that deep knowing that this is what wants to be seen and just it will be there. Like it's almost not on me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wants to happen anyway through me. So I don't have to really make it so difficult and hard. I just need to follow, right? What comes.
Wow. Kasha, I wish that I could like miniaturize you and just pop you in my pocket and carry you around with me. And you just keep saying to me, it will be okay. It will get done. It will happen. You're on your path. You're so calm. We're like opposites. I'm like constantly go faster, go hard. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna get it done. Meet the deadlines.
Yes, you have that side of you, right?
Yes.
And I have that side of me too. But then, as you have this side, there's also another side to you, right? Because we live in the world of polarities,
Yeah.
right? If we don't know what's like, we wouldn't know what's hot if we didn't have cold.
Mm.
So, if you have this side to you, there's also the genius side of you, right? That
Yeah.
higher self that you can easily connect with. And I'm pretty sure that that side of you is just as calm as me.
Oh, I'm gonna start looking for that side of me and hanging out with her more often. Can I ask you, so tell us about the show that you had in June because it sounds amazing. So I would like to know logistics of it. Um, how did you get a show in New York? Because that's like most artists' dream.
Yeah.
How did it go? Logistically, how did you get everything there from Minneapolis? Um,
Mm.
how did you get everything home? Um, all the things. Can you tell us?
Yeah, of course, of course. I just, I so every morning, right, before I even start anything, this is the first thing I do in the morning. I work on my visions, right? So I have specific visions for different areas of my life, right? So there is a vision for my art. During that process, I had a vision for my art show, and I just knew it will be in New York, and I knew it will be amazing exhibition. That's all I knew, and I envisioned that every morning. I also connected with kind of like the current reality where I knew where I stand, right? All my fears or my egoic things. And then I kind of look at the first step that I needed to take to make this happen. And that's what I did every morning. And you know, as I was working with my art coach and she's in New York, certain things just doors opened. And I just said, okay, this is the space. This is where I'm going to have my art show. And it just happened like very naturally. Sometimes when you really like very strong on your vision, I'll tell you, you don't even have to move your little finger. Things just happen for you
Yeah. Wow.
naturally. And then it just became a matter of me like packing everything and shipping there. And it was just so smooth and easy that it was just no effort at all. Like I've just packed everything and I sent everything and it was there. And then it was just very easy for me to return some of the pieces. It was easy, like there was no effort really. And I just had so much fun and I enjoyed so much. I met so many amazing people and probably collectors, right? That yeah, it seemed like no effort and no work, but because I am really consistent on envisioning, what I would love, and I connect with what I would love instead of connecting on what holds me back, right? Like
Mm.
you acknowledge what holds you back because it's very important,
Mm.
but then you just hold that vision for yourself, and
Yeah.
that can get you anywhere.
So, ha having a show in a different city from where you live, did you already have a community in New York of collectors and people that were following you, or how did you get everyone to your show?
Yeah, so there was there were people that I knew in New York because I mean, I love New York and I've been going there for many, many years. And through the community that my art coach had, I connected with a lot of other artists and people too. So that was big, right? And she had a huge following too. She did some ads for me, and then I started working with, as you know, Maxime, and he opened the door to a lot of things. So just like everything kind of rolled for me and like the doors were just opening, right? And I just met the right people and they just made it possible.
Oh, that's It's so good that you reach out and ask for help and get support, and it's a team behind you. It's not just you. I think a lot of
Yes.
artists are quite insular and I can do it. I can do it all myself. So I think that's fantastic. We were talking before this interview about your last art coach and then switching across to this art coach. Can you tell us about your coaching and why you have a coach and why you've switched across and
Yeah, so for the past over 3 years, I had worked with this one art coach, and she's incredible. She's amazing, and we became like really close friends because you work with someone so close and it's very intimate. Um, like I treat my art almost like kids, so it is very intimate for me. Um, and I just feel like, we really exchange this energy to the point where we knew that it's time for me to move on and just, explore something else, right?
Mm,
Where there will be just different kind of energetic exchange. Because we always grow, right? We never still like we grow, we develop, we change as artists, and then our art evolves too as we evolve. And it was just time for me to just move and start exploring something else, right? And I'm still in contact, still in touch, it's just like it was just like a natural progress. But I think that having an art coach is one of the best things that I've ever done for myself.
mm,
I also have spiritual coach, but having someone that kind of just hold your structure, right, knows you, and you it doesn't have to be like every week, right? We can meet like 2 times a month, but that that meeting is kind of like that kind of point where you go on the map, right? You have GPS on and you know where you're going, and this is your first stop, right? And then you go to another stop, so you just feel like you're moving on, right? You're moving with something is developing. And it's very important to have that, relationship where someone can just reflect back to you, right? Mirror back to you what you're doing, who you are, what you're becoming. It's like, on earth, right? The relationships are the biggest kind of the most amazing thing, also the most difficult thing, right? Because they mirror us.
mm,
So, same with your art. You want someone to mirror back to you who you are, because we are sometimes really not able to see ourselves. And that just becomes such an amazing tool, right? And then you can autocorrect as you go, because
yeah.
sometimes you need that autocorrection. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think are the greatest challenges that you've had working as a creative?
Um, it's more really I think that, we lived in such a fast, paced society, right? Everything is just instant gratification. And I am myself very impatient, even though I'm very calm, right? um, so, everything that I want, it already should happen yesterday.
Yeah.
Especially that, we click the thing on the iPhone and it comes up, right? Everything is so fast today. So there's almost no time, for anything. We want everything right now, and it's not enough, and it's too late already. So, if you and then there is this tendency of, oh, I want to be seen, and I want to be famous, and I want to get this, and I want to be there, right? And I already, envision all these collaborations, right? And it's also future oriented, right? So being present and really staying present for what is going on for you and for your heart it's a challenge sometimes, when I come back home and I go into my studio after like busy day at work and managing my son because I'm a single mom too. It's just it's a lot, so you kind of need to really really connect with your heart and make sure that you're being authentic, right? That kind of tendency, or maybe temptation to sell out, it's big, but then it's not your true self. It's not something that will actually nourish you.
Mm,
You'll be starving, right?
mm,
So it's always that balance, and then I guess the discernment, right? Is this truly what I would love, or is this something that I'm doing because of the trend?
yeah.
It's always a question. I think that's a very difficult line. And, and sometimes, of course, you need to take this to consideration too, right?
Mm,
Because you're not going to talk about something that's just like completely not understandable, right? To
yeah.
anyone, because you also want to connect. You want to like speak your message.
Yeah.
And so I just believe that like going into your heart and really acknowledging what truly you would love is very important. And sometimes you just have to do this so often, like always, all the time, you have to remind yourself what it is it really is that I want.
Mm,
What is my true calling? Um, what I would love to talk about, and what do I really want to express with my art?
mm. Yeah. What do you think would be the greatest achievement that you've had in your creative career?
Um, definitely that exhibition that I just had, but it's not even that exhibition and then, like establishing myself or like, getting the likes and followers. It's more really those intimate connection that I've developed with people, when they came to me and we talked about my art, or when they send me a message, and they say this really made an impact on me, or when I see just people crying and, coming for a hug. Like I think those moments are so tender. And it's just something you cannot put the price on, right?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
your creative practice, you produce artworks intuitively. Are there any other, do you diversify in any other areas like workshops or anything like that?
Yeah, I haven't like I've done the artist talks, quite a lot. I haven't done really strictly art workshops. They were more like spiritual workshops. But what I'm working on actually, I got the offer to give a proposal for a book publishing. So, and I had this idea for wow, wow, wow. I slept with this idea for a really long time. So now I'm really excited about that, and I'm working on really preparing the proposal for this publishing company that asked me if I want to actually publish a book, and that's I think what's going to happen next.
Well, that's exciting. Oh, yeah, I was about to ask now that you've done your show in New York, what's next? And is that the book publishing? Do you have anything else on the horizon?
Yes, and I'm working on like kind of smaller series, but who knows, maybe it won't be smaller, right? Right after this exhibition, I knew that the next series will be something kind of that I call the pause. And it's the exploration also on the binary code, right? So I had this whole thing because, in my exhibition, I use numbers, right? There was the zero, there was one, there was 10, there was 100, right? And they all told the story. So now I have the story with the pause that is an expression in the binary code too, right? In the computer language, because I'm really fascinated with numbers more as a symbolic representation of our life. So this next series, it will be pause, but that pause is actually more about expressing the spirit of the nature.
Okay, nice. Do you have an exhibition space lined up, or are you just putting it out into the universe and
I'm more just putting it out. There is a couple options that I have, but I haven't really like decided yet, because for me is like I just need to know that this is the really right place for me where I want to show my art. I really treat my art as something very sacred, and I just want to honor it. So it needs to be the space that like I really will feel that this is the right space for my art. So
yeah.
there is a couple actually things that I'm considering, and yeah, I'm sure it will be happening soon.
Wow. Can I completely digress from what we're talking about? So you're
Yeah.
from Poland, you live in Minneapolis. How did you get from one place to like why are you in Minneapolis?
Yeah, I actually, I haven't lived in Poland for like 25 years now. So I lived outside of Poland longer than I lived in Poland, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Still, my whole family is back in Poland. I left for London in my like early 20s after I graduated from my university. And I lived in London, and I just had fun. I wanted to travel, I wanted to explore. And then I started working with one of the doctors here. And because of my, academic background, social sciences, and my experience in hair transplant, because that's what I was doing, and that's what I'm doing as a business, um, I came to States, to work, and then I just stayed here. So it's like a long story short.
Wow. And have
Yeah.
you been in Minneapolis the whole time you've been in the States?
Yeah, Minneapolis, but I've done a lot of traveling, yes. But I'm based in Minneapolis, yes.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow. I was born in Rochester in Minnesota.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
my God, look at
not
that.
far from
Huh?
you. Yeah.
Small world, huh?
Yeah. Can't you tell from my accent? No, I'm kidding. I moved over to Australia when I was one, so it's definitely Australian accent. But yeah,
Yeah.
I hear it's cold. That's about all I hear.
Yeah, actually, when I moved here, because obviously I moved from London, it was March and it was a beautiful springtime, and I'm coming here and it's like the worst snowstorm. And I remember this from Poland, but like I forgot. And then I'm coming here, it's like, oh no, what happened? But as I actually, stayed here and I started exploring nature, I really got to love the place because nature here is really incredible.
Wow.
There are the places where you can just experience really raw nature, where the nature is really untouched and it's just as it's supposed to be. And that's for me the most really moving. And that's
Wow.
that's what I love. So especially like driving up north, as I don't know, you've probably heard, right? And then from here it's only like 5 hours to Canadian border.
Yeah.
The nature really becomes incredible. So that's like my biggest appreciation for this place, really.
Wow. So would you consider Minnesota home now as opposed to Poland, or is Poland still home?
No, definitely. Yeah, United States is my home, I would say. Yeah, United States is my home. But I just feel that like after you move countries, that kind of border type of thing is more like egoic orientation to me, really, right? I mean, in nature, borders don't exist, right? We put the borders and then we make a country, and nothing to say that, we shouldn't be proud. It's just it's kind of more artificial, right?
Mm.
So I more feel as a citizen of the world or even universe than really like belonging to one specific country, right?
Yeah.
But yes, I kind of developed the attachment for the place where I live. So yes, I consider States my home now.
Nice. So who do
Yeah.
you think's been the biggest influence on your art career?
To be honest, just different philosophical trends, different spiritual trends, mystics, the people that really see the connection, our spirit connection, right, beyond what is kind of seen, the deeper connection to nature. Um, that kind of question, like what Earth still remembers that we've forgotten, right? It's like a bigger thing for me. And to be honest, my own like spiritual guidance, what I talked about at the beginning, the envisioning and the meditation and the coming to the heart that I do, the spiritual guidance that I have, I think that's like really the biggest influence. And of course, most of all, it's nature, because there is no really bigger teacher than nature, I think.
Wow. Um, what advice would you have for up and coming artists that want to be where you are now?
Yeah, I just, I would just say, don't try so hard. Don't try to make it work. Don't think that you have to be a famous artist yesterday. um, I would just say, just really express truly what's in you, because like the bottom line is, we do art because we are called to do art, right? So it's already set for us. It kind of already happened somewhere there, right?
Yeah.
It already exists. The only thing that we need to do is to show up,
Mm.
to actually show up and take action and create art. The rest, it really doesn't matter, right? The rest is only our expectations and how we think we should be and how it's supposed to happen, and how fast we need to be this famous artist or recognized artist, and how much money we have to make on it, right?
Yeah.
These are all those things that I think are more holding us back than really bringing us to the truth, right?
Yeah.
Because if we were able to just to put this in a box and say you're so beautiful, you're here, I acknowledge you, but just don't bother me anymore, I think we would move on in our career so much faster.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So if people wanted to find you or get in touch with you, where can they go?
I have Instagram and I'm on Facebook too. So Instagram will be Kasia Muzyka, and then also my website, kasiamuzyka.com.
Great. I'll put all those links in the show notes. Just quickly, I went and had a look at your Instagram and had a little stalk. I notice a lot of artists put like process photos up of them creating the work, and I noticed that you don't have a huge amount of those up there. Is that because when you're in the zone creating, you're in the zone, you're not stopping to take photos of it?
Yeah, it's very, and I'll probably have a practice with me talking about my art when I'm really present. But when I paint, it's so intuitive that it almost feels, yeah, difficult for me to like set up this third eye, the observer, right? To really capture what I'm doing. It almost feels like it's not real, right?
Yeah.
Because, it's almost would affect what I'm doing, right? If we think about quantum physics, right? That observer, right,
Yeah.
is that one that will affect the whole experiment. So I feel like I'm stepping into the temple. I'm stepping into such a sacred space that, yeah, sometimes I feel I cannot really film that because then I'm in a different space.
Mm. Yeah. I feel
Yeah. So I have
100% the same.
snippets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I have snippets of it, right? I have little things, but yeah, not as much. And that's probably really good feedback, like I'll work on something where I can bring more people into my studio that also doesn't interrupt my practice.
Yeah, it's hard because
Mm.
you have a beautifully curated Instagram. I think everything is just lovely on there. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, Sarah, you need to be more professional with yours. So it's beautifully curated and it's not a critique, it's just something that I noticed. But that made me I really wanted to know how did she do it? And that's why I kept asking the process questions, like how do you get
Yeah.
into the space and how do you, but I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I completely forgot to ask, what medium do you use? So
Yeah.
acrylic or
Yes. So I actually paint with coffee, wine, and natural pigments, right? Yeah.
that's amazing. So you paint with coffee.
Coffee, wine, and natural pigments. And I actually just started creating this new body of work where I mix coffee wine with a little bit of paint. And I'm just experimenting with a lot of different textures because I really love texture. But yeah, I use coffee, wine, and pigments, natural pigments, earth pigments. And the reason is that I just believe they already have this inherited energy in them, right?
Yeah,
uh, there is energetic vibe to it. It's just such an old substance that lived on Earth for so long, so much longer than we or the human lifespan, right?
yeah,
So I just believe that when I paint with this, they become in a way my collaborators. Yeah, they kind of bring those stories and memories with them.
yeah. Yeah, wine is often my collaborator too, but normally it's me drinking it, not painting with it.
I love it.
But you are combining all my favorite things, coffee, wine, and paint. Do you forage for your own pigment?
So sometimes I would do that. I would just bring something from outside and crush it and mix with like oil, or like egg and just create that tempera, right?
Oh,
Um, and but very often I actually order. There is like, there are specific shops where they actually crush the rocks and like like even emerald, right? It can be crushed and then you get that powder and you can mix with oil or like the tempera and then you can apply that. So it's a very beautiful, meaningful, um almost like a ritual, right, when you do that. Yeah.
wow. Oh, that's so interesting. That's like a whole other podcast episode right there, learning all about that. It intrigues me so much because I'm the opposite. I just go to the paint shop and go, I like pink. I'll have the pink. Well, Katja, it was so lovely chatting to you today. I really honestly wish that we could just hang out and drink wine and paint with the wine and also drink the wine together.
Oh, this could be arranged. It could
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Except I can't visit the States at the moment. That's a whole other story to do with politics. So we're not going to talk about it on an art and business and mural podcast. But maybe after the next midterm elections or something, I could come visit.
Yes, yes. You're always welcome to come and paint with me. I would love that. It would be
Yeah.
so cool.
That would
Yeah,
be.
and I actually really want to come to Australia. So who knows, you know?
Well, you're always
Yeah.
more than welcome here. We have a
Yeah.
spare bedroom. I have a massive studio, and our politicians will let you in, no problems.
Oh my God. Thank you. I'll take you on that. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't be surprised.
yeah. I live on the in the Sunshine State in Queensland where it's sunny every day of the year. And as I'm sure you can probably hear, everyone mows their lawn every single day, or at least the days that I record podcast
Yeah.
episodes.
I
So
love
that's the
that.
noise.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I really appreciate your questions and your openness, and just your energy. It's so free. I loved it. And, I appreciate you holding space for me. And also like, it's such a good feedback for me when it comes to my studio practice, just to open up a little bit more and show a little bit more what I'm doing. So that's like a great mirror for me. So I really thank you for that.
Oh, no problems. Thank you. It's really inspirational to see. And when I grow up, I want to be like you, Kasia, where I'm more intuitive and in touch with myself and I just let things flow because it will all be okay.
I mean, it always is, like, really.
Thank you so much again. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll talk again soon.
Yes, thank you. Enjoy your day.